like at home with a Sharpie marker.
Okay. We need to go back here. Hey, darling. How are you doing? You look so pretty. All your birthday pictures. Happy birthday.
I told Blake he missed his opportunity. That's probably the only time he's going to ever get cheered if he could have been up here and make that decision. Pretty cheered for this decision. I was just talking to the bond holders. These are the documents that y'all are about to approve for this lawsuit. They need them tonight. Are you comfortable signing them as they're approved? Well, none of them call for the clerk to attest it. Once the board authorizes it, I think you can.
Yeah, but I think it will work.
She doesn't want to show up there. Please.
How you doing, man? How are you?
I'm showing that we have a quorum. I'm showing that 5 minutes is up. If somebody move, we go back into open session.
So move.
Have a motion, District 5. Second District going in. Further discussion. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, so moved. Finance, a resolution requesting approval of a supplemental bond resolution. Mr. Fred Allada, Finance Director.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Start out with saying that there's been a long meeting, but in the spirit of Christmas, I think you'll see it by the time this is over. I bring you some good tidings and joy on the bond issue here. We've had probably about 4 meetings. You've approved the bonds in the October 21st and numerous other things. Tonight is to finalize it. In your packet for the agenda, you had a resolution and a executive summary that had a lot of blanks in it. And the reason for the blanks is that our underwriter went to market today to go ahead and get the pricing. Tonight we come to bring the pricing to you. With me, before I go any further, I have Jim Monicell, our bond counsel, here if we need him for any questions on the resolution and other legal matters, and Bill Camp with Raymond James, our underwriter. So I'll just proceed. I gave you before the meeting a new resolution which has all of the blanks that you had and the one that was in the board package completed. After today's work by Raymond James to go ahead and get the pricing and bring forth a purchase agreement for you, that is complete. Also, I gave you a copy of the POS that went out, the preliminary official statement that went out, that was put together and used by Raymond James to solicit inquiries for the bond issue. You also have I handed out a pricing summary, and I'm just going to touch on it, and then I'm going to bring Bill Camp up here to go into more detail on it or answer questions. I have given you 2 worksheets, and I'm just going to concentrate on those just to move it along. On September 4th, there was some preliminary pricing done obviously, for Raymond James to go and stick their neck out based on where the market was, where they thought the market was going to be, and come up with some pricing that they felt we'd be able to go to market with and what kind of yields we would get. But anyways, as you can see there, we asked that we go to market to bond $13,165,000. That is the figure that they went out to date with the POS and are bringing pricing in tonight. The reoffering premium that was anticipated back in September was $1,819,000, and it's come in today in the pricing agreement. You'll see at $2,082,000, which is a almost $263,000 betterment for the county, more cash to us for the sale of these bonds. The total cost was anticipated to be $184,000, almost $185,000. The cost now is anticipated to be $173,000, another $11,000 savings. Basically, as you can see, we will pick up an additional $274,000 from where we were before. Part of the pricing, if you'll take a look at the second schedule I gave you in your packet, and I'll come back to this one. One of the things that we looked at back in September was going out with a $4 million bond for $4,205,000, 4% bond, for $4,205,000, and the other bonds were going to be at 5%. As it turns out, when they went to market today for pricing, they used 5% on all of them. What it did is it did increase the yield for us, bettered our yield. It did cost us will cost us an additional $129,000 in interest. But let me bring that back to here on the first schedule at the bottom of what I gave you. And you can see that even with the $129,000 increase in interest from 4 to 5% for that one issuance, with the savings by getting more yield and premium, we still are going to net out $144,000 more as a result. The breakdown below shows you that because of the premium, even though with additional interest and the savings on the cost of the bonds, we end up, as I said, over the period of these bonds with savings from September to today of $144. I think that's pretty remarkable considering that somebody back in September would sit there and anticipate where the market would be. Either they're very, very good or very, very lucky or both. And obviously for us, it turns out to be very much in our favor. On that other page at the bottom, you will see about 5 lines up, the bond yield for arbitrage purposes, it was anticipated to be 1.468%, which obviously less than 1.5%. And as it is right now, we're going to end up with a 1.18% yield, which to me, you're talking about extremely cheap money. That is about almost 0.3% savings from where we thought we would be to where we are. So everything has gone in our favor. And as I said, the yield that we're looking at is 1.18%. If you take the all-inclusive cost, it's 1.5. If you take a look at the previous schedule, I hate to go back and forth to be the last thing here, because you take the premium we'll receive of $2,082,000 and the interest we're going to pay of $2,008,000, the net interest cost basically is only going to be $778,000 for $13 million of borrowings over 5 years. And we're not paying anything back until 2018, 3 years from now. So we're going to have a full $13 million loan debt out there for the next 3 years at the 5%. And as I said, the net effect of that, because of the premium we're receiving, is going to only end up with $778,000 in interest during that period of time. I'm going to bring Bill up and let him go ahead and go through the purchase agreement and answer any questions you may have.
Gentlemen, I know it's been a long night for y'all, and I want to cover everything that you all want me to cover, but I want to be as brief as I can. Mr. Arletta did a fantastic job of describing the portion of the bonds that are going to be issued for the county projects. I've prepared a summary, and I'm just going to go through that very quickly. Each one of you ought to have a copy of this. And if you would, on page 2, our bond issue is going to close. We're going to wire funds into the county's construction fund and the 3 cities fund. Thank you, sir. On January the 8th. So at that point, they'll be able to begin the projects. Our payments are going to start May of 15 through May of 2020, and that's in cadence with your existing sales tax. Yield, the highlighted column here, the most important thing on the page, the interest rate that you're paying out, the interest rate, the investment return that the investor is getting, 16 through 20, 0.3% out to 1.44. That's an average of 1.18%. Down at the bottom of the page, just to kind of give you a little bit of background on where we are, the difference, a little less than 0.1% difference between your rates and the AAA scale. You're rated AA1. That's a third party unrelated to the transaction, Moody's, giving investors their opinion of Henry County. So pat yourselves on the back for that one. Page 4 is a detail of all the costs of issuance as well as the deposits to the construction funds for the 4 different portions. Of course, y'all are getting a little over $15 million. You can see each one of the cities there, what their portion is, as well as all the costs associated with the transaction. Page 5. Yes, sir.
I only addressed the county's portion of it. The bonds that we're putting together that you approved to go forward with are for the city and the county. And I apologize for not mentioning that. I was focusing just on the county portion, but the cities are getting what Bill is presenting here.
Yep. The structure of the debt, annual debt service in the maximum the last 3 years, $8.6 million. And the reason I want you to think about that or focus on that number is we're currently making $30 million a year in sales tax. So under very, very conservative estimates, you can pay this back. It is a general obligation of the county, but sales tax will be sufficient to make the debt service payments. And that, unless you all would like to ask any further questions, that I'll cease the summary with that. And in addition, I wanted to say thank you again for allowing us to serve the county. I've had the privilege, the honor of working with y'all for 15 years now, and I also appreciate all the work that your staff has put into this, and they should be. I just want to give them all the accolades that I can, how professional a job that Jim and Mr. Arletta both have done in representing the county and helping us through this process. Thank you.
Bill, if you would, one thing, if you would just describe the purchase agreement.
Yes,
as
sir.
far as
Sorry.
how that works.
And Jim Monicell, your bond counsel's here. I'm not trying to step on his toes, but the document that you will be asked to approve tonight is the bond resolution, and it's the legal words for what these numbers show. The principal amounts, the interest rates in each year. That's the bond resolution. An exhibit to that resolution is our agreement between Raymond James, the underwriter, and the county, the issuer, is the bond purchase agreement. And that's us guaranteeing that we're going to wire funds into your account on January the 8th, and these are the debt service that you'll pay back to the investors over time. Also, there's a 15C212 certificate. That's just saying that the POS is complete, is accurate, and also the continuing disclosure certificate. This is a rated, publicly offered bond issue. The issuer, you, has a responsibility, and you've engaged us to do this on your behalf, to update at least annually, and potentially if any material events arise, we'll make that available to investors through public information.
If the markets, we're not, Raymond James is going to take this to market on the 8th of January. We won't pay any interest or be responsible for any interest between now and January 8th, because that's when the bonds will be issued. The purchase agreement that Bill is describing and you'll be signing or approving and signing makes what has been presented here final. If the market goes to heck in a handcart, it's on Raymond James. If they can't sell them at these prices, they must guarantee, they're guaranteeing us the deliverance of that amount of money at those rates with that yield. So between now and then, they're taking the risk. Between now and January, taking a risk, and we're avoiding any interest costs to go out and secure that loan, those debts today.
Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
I think it's easy to get excited. I mean, when you see you're only paying 1.18% when you bring it all in. I do want the public to know debt is something we take serious. I mean, because it's a very powerful instrument, but it can be a very dangerous instrument. And that's what we've tried to learn from in the past, is that, and that's why we haven't bonded as much has been done in the past. I think it's very powerful what Mr. Oletta has done with doing a rolling build structure where we have a timeline of all of our projects on SPLOS, so that we don't run into the arbitrage of where we're paying substantially higher money on bond debt while we're sitting on a bunch of cash. We're trying to work through that and be as productive with the assets and keep this down as much as possible. But at the end of the day, great work to you guys. I always say, with bonding, especially as a public institution, a little bit of luck's needed also on what's going on in the markets when things are going. And man, it's better to be lucky than good sometimes. And we had some really good things line up, it seems, when y'all took this out there to price it out. So thank you so much for your help.
Any other questions? Comment? Now we have a resolution in the book, a supplementary bond resolution providing for, one, the approval, execution, and delivery of a bond purchase agreement providing for the sale of $29,630,000 Henry County General Obligation Sales Tax Bond Series 2015. Two, the naming of an authenticating agent, a bond registrar, and paying agent for said bonds. The adoption of the forms to which said bonds shall adhere to, the levy of a tax as required to pay the principal of the interest on said bond. Number 5, the approval, execution, and delivery of the continued disclosure certificate and the official statement relating to said bonds. 6, the execution and delivery of said bonds. 7, providing for a construction funding and its custodian. And number 8, for other related purposes. Somebody move we approve this resolution. Have a motion, District 5. Second, District 1. Any further discussion? All in favor, lift your right hand. All opposed, same sign. So moved. Thank you. Next, we have a resolution requesting authorization to implement the defined benefit plan for employees. Fred, it's still you.
I'm going to hand out here a revision, and the county manager will go through this, but this is a revision to what's in the
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Several months ago, a majority of the commissioners asked that we look at the defined benefit plan to check its financial viability and whether or not any changes need to be made. We started back in July by notifying the department heads that we were going to look at the defined benefit plan for any changes that we might be able to recommend to strengthen the plan. In the interim period between July and the last week of August, we met with GEBCOR. We worked out some numbers, some proposed changes to the plan. We presented a straw man list of changes to all the department heads on about the 3rd of September and gave them an opportunity to go back and talk to all of their employees to solicit feedback about their opinions on how we could strengthen the plan or change the plan. We revised the plan somewhat, but then we met with 5 of the 6 commissioners one-on-one and laid out what the employees felt was the best way to go with the plan and got your input and advice. We took it back, massaged the plan just a little bit more, had a 2-day retreat from November 20th to 21st, laid out the plan with your changes, made
again, some more modifications to strengthen the plan, came back to you, and we've massaged it just a little bit again, but that leads us to where we are tonight, to bring a resolution to you to strengthen the county's defined benefit plan. We have a good plan. It's about 10 years old. We started the plan about $20 million in debt. We were a little bit generous with the plan, and we put ourselves in a position now where we're about $50 million in the hole, and the current plan as it exists today is really not sustainable. So as a result, we've had to make some changes to the plan, and I'd like to brief those to you and make sure that everybody and all of our employees get a chance to see. They should know, but exactly what we're doing. We have three classes of employees in the county. We have just regular employees, public safety employees, and then commissioners. So the good news for our current employees is that the plan that they signed up for has not and will not change. And let me say that there are really three ways that a county like ours can protect a benefit plan for our employees. You've got a defined benefit plan which you pay into, the county matches a portion of it, and then when you retire or vest and become eligible, the county gives you money for the rest of your life. That's a benefit plan. That's what you all signed up for 10 years ago. You asked us to try to keep that. That's what we have now. The other thing that you can do is a defined compensation plan. That's where employees simply put money that they want to into a savings account, and then when they retire, the only money they receive back is the money that they put in. And when they run out of money, they run out of money. So you all told me that a defined benefit plan was the way to go. If you're going to serve the public good, be a public servant, then there ought to be a mechanism to reward you for the rest of your life. So we started with a defined benefit plan going forward. The original plan that our employees are working under right now, and this is for all employees that are currently employed for Henry County. You can retire at age 60. You have a reduced retirement age at 55. You vest in 5 years, so you're fully vested in the program in 5 years. And then when you turn 60, you begin collecting whatever you've earned. You get 2.5% for each year of service up to 35 years, and employees currently contribute 6%. An employee works for 20 years, gets 50% of their retirement salary when they retire. The only change to current employees that we're proposing is that on July the 1st of next year, instead of paying 6%, they will begin paying 7%. That's for current employees. Now, the change to the program affects new employees, those hired after January 1st of 2015. And here are the changes. Your normal retirement age is now 65. Your early reduced retirement age is 60. Instead of vesting in 5 years, you vest in 10 years. Instead of 2.5% a year, it's 2%. And when you come into the county, your employee contributions are set at 7%. So now an employee that works for the county for 20 years will receive 40% of their salary when they retire. And this is only for people who come into the county after January the 1st of next year. The next class of employees that we have are public safety, police, fire, sheriff. Their current plan, all employees that are currently employed by the county will continue to be under this plan. Your normal retirement age is 55. Your early reduced retirement age starts at 50. You vest in 5 years, just like regular employees. You get 2.5% for each year up to 35 years. You work 20 years, you get 50% retirement, and so that's what your salary is, 50% after a 20-year career. The only change to current employees, public safety, is on July 1st of next year, your 6% contribution is now 8%. For new public safety employees that come into the county after January 1st, this will be your new defined benefit plan. Your normal retirement age is now 58. Your early reduced retirement age starts at 53. You vest in 10 years. You receive 2% each year for 35 years, so after a 20-year career, you retire with 40%. For your employee contributions, for new public safety employees coming into the county starting on January the 1st, you'll contribute 7%. On July the 1st, you will contribute 8%, just as the existing public safety county employees will. The third class of employees are our commissioners. The current plan that you all have in effect is $1,200 per year accredited service, $100 monthly benefit, and you currently pay 6% in employee contributions. The only change to all current commissioners and the newly elected commissioner is that you will start paying 7% effective July 1st of 2015. There's a new proposed plan for commissioners that I guess the next election now is in 2016. So for new commissioners in 2016, you'll have a reduced benefit comparable to that of both regular and employees and public safety employees, and they will also pay 7% into the plan. So those in essence are the changes. We've protected the defined benefit plan as you asked us to. The employees, to the best of my knowledge, have been briefed by their department heads, and quite frankly, to keep a defined benefit plan, they don't mind paying a little bit more. I think it's fair to say that a lot of our employees live paycheck to paychecks. They don't necessarily have personal savings accounts, and they want to make sure that when they retire, that the county keeps faith with them and can provide them a defined benefit plan for the remainder of their lives. So this is a significant muscle move in the financial life of the county and in our employees, and I would ask that the commissioners adopt the proposed resolution that's before you now.
I might, I've had a lot of help getting this done with two people, and they're here tonight, and they've sat through waiting for this agenda item. Israel Beneer with GEPCOR, and Bill Carbon, who's with CBIZ Retirement Services. They've been the actuary for ACCG for this plan for the past 15 years, but they're here to answer any questions regarding documents or the actuary or anything else. And again, I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to work with them and get this done, and at the same time have them sit here and wait here in case there are any questions they can answer.
Anybody have any questions?
I just want to say great job again, Jim. You have done so much in the short time you've been with this county. If anybody watching this meeting can see that we're saving money, we're moving this county in the right direction, and Jim has been in front of all of that. So I don't see how anybody who watched this meeting tonight can say that we need to get rid of this county manager. This county manager has been great for Henry County. He cares about the county, and he's moving this county forward.
Anybody else have any comments? We have a resolution to amend the associated.
Chair,
I'm sorry.
I'd like to say something too. Chair, can you put that on the overhead? Right after Jim took office as the county manager, I approached him, and I think it's interesting because we filled the room about the zoning, and the zoning was very, very important. But this article showed up in October of 2013. You can see the date up there, and then Sherry, pull it down to where you see the best and worst funded pensions. If you want to know what wakes up a financial person like me in the middle of the night, is the data that you see that we made the 10 worst funded pension plans in the metro area. And if you ask me how many calls did I receive when this article hit, the answer was 0. So I mean, the public is unaware that we had a ticking time bomb sitting out there with the finances of the county. And then I was troubled because we made these promises to the public, to our employees, to carry this forward. How are we going to fix this? And I thought it was interesting. One of my favorite investors is Warren Buffett. I read his shareholder letters every year. They come out around March or so. And it's funny, this time when he came out with his letter to shareholders for the 2014, talking about his performance for 2013, he closed out on page 21 with the following paragraph, and I thought it was very important that we focus on this. He said, local and state financial problems are accelerating, in large part because public entities promised pensions they couldn't afford. Citizens and public officials typically underappreciate the gigantic financial tapeworm that was born when promises were made that conflicted with a willingness to fund them. Unfortunately, pension mathematics today remain a mystery to most Americans, and that follows up with why I didn't get any calls. But that doesn't take away the obligation we made to our employees to provide these pensions. So how do we fix it? And I want to thank Fred, GEBCOR, and everybody, because GEBCOR, don't think that mounting liability is not GEBCOR's fault. Matter of fact, their performance has actually been pretty good within the investments. So this is not a lack of performance in the investments. We've actually had some good years in the markets. This is because we just didn't have the structure right, where instead of the line going up, meaning the liability to the county going up, we need to figure out how we could adjust it where it could flatten or even decrease. And I appreciate you guys doing it. And I think that hopefully our employees recognize that we tried to mitigate the impact to them as much as possible, but how do you have a promise kept if you don't fix the mistakes of the past? And I think we did it. I mean, this is a check mark that I hope we get 6-0 support on, because to fix the problems of the county, a big check for the future and for our taxpayers, but also fulfill that promise, is a win for Henry County, and I appreciate all the staff that worked on this.
I just want to ensure that our current employees don't have to start contributing until the next fiscal year.
That's correct. The regular employees start paying 7% on July the 1st.
Okay.
Public safety employees will start paying 8% on July the 1st, and then you commissioners will start paying 7% on July the 1st.
Anybody else?
I'd also like to thank Fred and Jim for a job well done. This is a tough decision, but it's easier when we know what we do tonight is going to ensure the retirement plan for our employees, and that's something that we've got to take seriously.
Anybody else? Fred, this afternoon we had discussions about how long this retirement program has been losing money and not funding. Could you put that chart up there? I want the audience to know that this didn't just happen this year, last year, year before that, or 8 years ago, or even 10 years ago. I think it started falling behind in 2003, the very year they created this, and I want.
I think the year you enacted the plan, you were $20 million in debt.
I want the public to know that this group up here is fixing something that should have been fixed progressively over the last 20 years, maybe.
What this shows here is, what Jim's previously mentioned, is that at the present time, our unfunded liability is $49.8 million, almost $50 million. These are the years, and as you can see, initially, the initial liability when the plan was established started with a $20 million shortfall. And at the present time, it's part of the unfunded has gone to 25, and that's primarily because of the lack of growth in the amount being there to earn the 7 or 8%, 7.5% to 8% that it should. You can see we had actuarial losses in all these years. There were some assumption changes and so on. And we've had 3 years of actuarial gains, the last year being 2013, the most recent year of actuarial review. And we had $3 million, almost 3.3. So hopefully, after getting through the Great Recession, we're turning the corner. But at the same time, the net of all this is $50 million. And as you can see, except for recently, it's been rising. This number, when I first brought it up, I think 2 years ago, was about 43 million, and it's gone now to 50 million. And again, as Commissioner Preston has said, this is a way to make it viable. Instead of seeing that 44 go to 50, go to 60, this is going to take it down, hopefully in 10 years, to somewhere under 25 and maybe even 15 million based on the structure of what's out there.
Having said that, last year, for most of us up here, had an actuarial gain, which is 2013. And if I'm not mistaken, 2014 is going to have an actuarial gain as well. Would that be a true
I haven't
statement?
received the report yet, so I couldn't tell you.
Before trading days in the markets, so let's not jinx anything.
I know, but what I'm saying.
It all depends if there's.
Employees and the public to know that even though we're doing this and it's a positive step, the fact is 15 years down the road, we still probably going to be in arrear. This is the beginning. This is not going to be a quick fix to overcome $50 million.
No, as I said, in 10 years, based on the actuarial reviews that I've had Bill run, we're hoping, based on everything going the way it should, gains being what they are, at 7.5%. We could be down to the $25 million, which is going down as opposed to up, but still 25. But again, if the county continues to contribute no less than 8%, it would put us in a point whereas that percent that we're required may come down lower, keep it at 8, and that'll go ahead and reduce that 25 million even further.
And there is a provision in the resolution that says the county will never contribute less than 8%.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? If not, we'll have a resolution to amend the Association County Commissions of Georgia Defined Benefit Plan for Henry County employees. Have a motion on the floor to approve.
Second.
Second from District 3. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. So moved. Thank you. Next, GIS, Geographical Information System. Resolution requesting authorization to purchase digital product for an aerial photographic project. Ms. Delk, who is the GIS Director, good evening.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. I have before you a resolution for the to enter in an agreement with the Georgia Regional Commission and 22 other counties. They will be managing for this project to capture digital orthophotography, LiDAR, and oblique imagery acquisition. This is a large project. I looked extensively to find a project that we could enter into that would help deviate some of the costs, and this is for the quality of project and product that we will receive out of this. I've budgeted this. This will be over 2 budget cycles that it will extend. We've already got approval in my budget this year for $100,000. Water Authority has already went in with this to help with this project. Like I said, there's 22 other counties that are going in with this. It's a large project, but the product that we will get at the end is something that we couldn't, going into this project alone, afford. It is for Henry County, it's like $180,000 versus $500,000 that we would pay. So I hope and I'm sorry?
I was going to ask anybody had questions. I didn't realize you wasn't finished.
And that's it. And so this is something that we really need. It's good for our public safety. It's good for every other department within the county, and we're really behind on that. I think it's something that's very useful.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? No, we have a resolution of the Board of Commissioners to approve purchase of digital projects through the 2015 through the Georgia Mountain Regional Commission Area Photograph Project. Have a motion, District 3. Second, District 4. Any further discussion? All in favor, lift your right hand. All opposed, same sign. So moved. Thank you. Next, we have a resolution requesting approval to extend a lease agreement for the property located at 333 Phillips Drive.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, gentlemen. The building located at 333 Phillips Drive is called the Aubrey Harvey Building. The United States Department of Agriculture leases a portion of that building and currently pays the county $21,216 per year. That lease has been expired, and the USDA and I guess the Government Accounting Office, somebody at the federal government, realized that the lease had expired. They've been paying us anyway, which probably violates a whole pile of federal regulations. So they sent us this short lease amendment in a bit of a panic, saying that they needed to get us to adopt that lease amendment. It will extend the existing lease through through May 31st of 2018. It'll keep the rent at the current $21,216, which still, and Mr. Walker and his staff checked, still far exceeds the cost of operating that building, and we've got room for other tenants. So it's a good deal for the county. I recommend you approve it so we can get legal.
Any questions or comments? If not, we got a resolution of the Henry County Board of Commissioners requesting approval of an extension of a lease for 333 Phillips Drive. Have a motion for District 1, second from District 3. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign, so moved. Next, council, we have a resolution requesting approval of an extension of the current service delivery strategy with the cities. Cheryl Hopkins, good evening.
Good evening, Chair and board members. As Chairman Smith has indicated, I am before you all this evening to seek approval to extend the current service delivery strategy. As you all may be aware, our SDS actually will expire on December 24th of this year, but over the course of the last couple of weeks, there's still some things that we need to get resolved before we actually submit that document to the Department of Community Affairs. I've been in consultation with DCA, and they've told me the process for making sure that we get the necessary paperwork in. So I'm just before you all tonight to get approval to extend our service delivery strategy submittal to the Department of Community Affairs for an additional 60 days. I have confirmed with DCA that this will not cause us to go into a non-qualified local government status, nor will it hinder any financial funding that we receive for any grants. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Anybody have any comments or questions? If not, we have a resolution in the book of the Henry County Board of Commissioners to request a 60-day extension of the service delivery strategy to the Department of Community Affairs.
Move to approve.
Have a motion, District 3. Second, District 4. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. So moved. Thank you. Next, we're going to have a resolution requesting Henry County's local legislative delegation to submit local legislation clarifying the authority of the Board of Commissioners, the County Manager, and Chairperson. And I'm going to yield the floor to District 2.
Thank you, Chairman. We're bringing this issue forward because a lot of people are probably asking, why are we even discussing this item? Why talk about clarification of the authority and powers of not only the chairperson but the county commissioners as well as the county manager? And I just want to kind of go over a few talking points that were put together. On November 21st of 2014, the chairman has asked the Superior Court of Henry County to provide a declaratory judgment because there, and this is quote, because there is uncertainty as to the exercise of the authority and duties delegated to him by the General Assembly, which plaintiff alleges have been largely usurped by the Board of Commissioners illegally and in an unconstitutional manner. The impact of this legal action, just for y'all, just so the public can understand, is that it's been a distraction from the business of the county. From those that are impacted or just the people that are spectators that are curious, we've had constituents that call. I know personally I've had clients that have called asking because they hear a lawsuit, people get nervous and start wondering what's going on. Other counties have approached other commissioners and asked what's going on in Henry County. I know I have personally talked to individuals that sit on the Economic Development Authority where they've talked about potential economic development investors or also have shown some concern over what is going on in Henry County. It's brought us notoriety for the wrong reason. So the question I've asked myself as we were putting this together, it says the chairman always disagreed with the job function and the duties of our commissioner/county manager structure. So dug back through because we just hired a brand new county manager back in April. And that was the result of August 20th of 2013 at the 6:30 meeting. We had Exhibit 17, which was requesting approval of an agreement with the University of Georgia's Carl Vinson Institute of Government. There was an Exhibit A of the letter of agreement that stated, quote, the Henry County Board of Commissioners has determined a need for assistance in screening applicants for the position of county manager, end quote. The item carried with a 6-0 vote and agreement signed by the chairman, Tommy Smith. So how did we end up with legal action? While the chairman has said it is not personal, our experience is that the chairman has personal differences with several of our department heads and staff members, and has become frustrated that the BOC or the Board of Commissioners will not provide approval for him to take action on those personal feelings by terminating those individuals. As of today, we still have not been told specifically what powers or authority we have taken from the chairman. The chairman has made this personal, but the Board of Commissioners would like to take the individuals out of the discussion and find a solution that clarifies and codifies how the county operates and has operated for well over 20 years. I think it's important to look at a little background. The International City/County Management Association, that's known as ICMA, has recognized Henry County as having a council/commission manager government since 1982. Why is that important? Every county commissioner is required by law to go to training on being a county commissioner of the state of Georgia, and then you're also given a handbook for being a county commissioner in the state of Georgia. I've got both the 5th edition, which was updated in 2010, and I've got the 4th edition that was updated in 2002. We have both in our records here at the office, and it gives a lot of detail, and I want to give the quotations so everybody can go do their own homework as well. On page 18 of the Commissioner's Handbook, it says, perhaps the most stringent registry of professional management among Georgia counties is compiled by the ICMA in its list of counties recognized as having council/commission manager governments, and we are one of those communities that they recognize as having that structure. In Georgia, the commission, and this is on the same page, page 18, if you look in the handbook of chapter 1, it says, in Georgia, the commission manager form of government tends to be found among more populous counties with higher per capita incomes. The traditional commission and sole commissioner forms tend to be found most often among smaller counties with lower per capita income. It should be noted that we are the 7th most populous county in the state with over 200,000 residents, and we're growing. If you then go to page 7 of chapter 1, which is actually the first page of chapter 1 in the second paragraph, it talks about county government structure. And this is what it says, like I said, in paragraph 2. It says, over the last 2 to 3 decades, in response to increasing citizen demands and federal and state mandates, counties have been called upon to provide a wider range and higher level of service. Consequently, officials in large number of U.S. counties have adopted structures that provide for professional management. In Georgia, the percentage of counties having a professional manager or administrator with extensive executive authority grew from 34% in 1993 to almost 74%, that's 117 counties, in 2009. So the question then shifts to, why the shift to professional management? So you flip, once again, it's in our handbook that everybody is required once you're elected to receive these. On page 16 of the handbook, it states, let me flip over there, it says, appointing a professional manager as the county's chief executive is generally regarded as the highest preference for professionalism in service delivery. The structure that embodies that strategy, the commission manager form, has been endorsed by the National Civic League since 1930. The formal allocation of executive authority to a qualified manager ensures that professional expertise will be brought to bear on local operations, and problems increases the likelihood that other professionals will be brought on board in subordinate capacities and enhance the county's recruiting edge over traditional structure in the pursuit of talented professionals. So I think that leads us to an education point. We can talk about the different forms of Georgia county government. And it's summarized on page 12 and 13 of the handbook, but what's even better for all of my visual learners, Sherry, if you could put up the map. This is incredible that the state of Georgia actually provides us a physical map of how every state, according to ACCG, is structured in their eyes. I'm going to let you give the public time to see that. And hopefully that they can zoom in and find Henry County right there, because you're going to notice that Henry County is structured on that map. Let me flip over because it's on page 14. If you look on that map, we are clearly listed as one of the 54 counties that has a commission/manager structure. So I think it's important then to look at the definition of what does it mean to be a commission/manager. So they actually provide a definition in the handbook, and this is what it says. It says the commission/manager form of county government corresponds to the council manager form of municipal government. Under this structure, the Board of Commissioners fills the primary policy-making role and oversees the executive functions of the county, but assigns the day-to-day duties of the executive role to an expert manager whom the board selects based upon administrative qualifications and experience. Ultimate control over operations of county government is retained through the board's authority to remove the manager at any time it deems necessary or appropriate. Although clearly subordinate to the Board of Commissioners, the county manager is granted substantial executive authority commensurate with primary, though not ultimate, executive responsibility. In the pure commission manager structure, the manager has authority to appoint and remove most department heads, is responsible for preparing the proposed budget for submission to the Board of Commissioners, and reports directly to the full Board of Commissioners rather than to a single office holder. Just over 1/3 of Georgia's counties, that's 54, were operated under the commission manager structure as of October 2009. So with that understanding, there's only 5 structures in the state of Georgia, as you can see on the list there. We reviewed this to try to figure out, well, which form ties into what the chairman is saying his powers are under his complaint to Superior Court. And the only one we could find that was based upon our structure of having Board of Commissioners as well as a chairman that gives him the power that he was seeking is listed under the elected executive form of government. And here's the definition for it, just so we can stay consistent. It said, like state governors, elected county executives may be granted extensive or very limited formal authority. When formal authority is extensive, the strong county executive may enjoy unfettered power to appoint or remove department heads and to develop the county's proposed budget, and may have authority to veto acts of the Board of Commissioners. When formal authority is more limited, the weak county executive may be required to seek concurrence of the Board of Commissioners for appointment or removal of department heads, may simply coordinate the receipt of departmental budget requests for development of a budget by the Board of Commissioners, and may possess no veto power. In Georgia, as of October 2009, only DeKalb County was operating under the elected executive structure. So, with that understanding, even though the chairman has a perceived uncertainty, it is clear that ACCG and the ICMA view Henry County as a county manager / commission government. So the chairman's legal filing discusses an uncertainty. How do we fix this perceived uncertainty? The answer to the question is actually located within the question and the complaint. It states, quote, this is based upon the complaint, it says, because there is an uncertainty as to the exercise of the authority and duties delegated to him by the General Assembly, there's the answer, is the General Assembly. It says the General, and so this is what we're proposing. The General Assembly / local delegation can perfect the record and remove the uncertainty with local legislation. With the help of our county attorney, we asked to codify and clarify how the county has operated for over 20 years. Instead of focusing only on the chairman and his authority, we have asked that all of the parties be reviewed, including the county manager and the Board of Commissioners. We also asked to take out the individuals / personal issues and focus on the position, the duties, and the authority to clearly perfect the record as well as move the business of the county forward. In addition to this resolution perfecting the record and removing the perceived uncertainty, it will also save the taxpayers money. Legal actions require attorneys, and the chairman has also asked that his attorney fees be reimbursed. It is the BOC's desire, the Board of Commissioners' desire, that it would be more prudent and cost-effective to let the legislative side of our state government decide this instead of the judicial branch. The legislation should not only be more cost-effective, but it'll also be a quicker resolution than the years of time and expenses of dealing with this in the court system.
Anybody else have any comments? Having said that, this is well and good. I just got this as we approached the meeting. So this is part of the problem, is they surprised me with all this. This is good, and parts of it's factual, parts is not. Without giving, based on my attorney, I'm going to make some statements. One is, the part about the 74 law is correct. The 74 law gave this is by General Assembly. The General Assembly had an act, and they changed the form of government in Henry County to 5 elected officials. Okay, the part that's missing here is in 1982, the General Assembly changed that. They added section 8.2, which is if you read this, is the part that they're trying to amend. Okay. In 1982, the General Assembly, with mere legislation, approved a new form of government in Henry County. They created what they call a county administrator. The county administrator was given executive and administrative powers to do whatever they wanted. Now, the 1990 law the General Assembly created several things. One is they created a chairman to be elected at large. Number two, they made the chairman the CEO, and they also repealed Section 8.2. Okay, 8.2 replaced the county administrator and gave all that executive power to the chair. So that's the contest. Without going any more, I yield the floor. We have a resolution here, so if you want to do this.
With that said, I'd like to make a motion to pass a resolution requesting Henry County's local legislative delegation to submit local legislation clarifying the authority of the Board of Commissioners, the county manager, and the chairperson.
Before I second, I just want to say that having a title does not make you a leader. In the last 2 years, I have not seen any leadership from the chairman, nor have I seen any vision. The entire region thinks we're a joke as a county, but with everything that's going on in Henry County. All I've seen over the last 2 years is a different employee being attacked and intimidated. And I guess that's the reason why the chairman seeks to have executive power so he can fire everybody. It started with Fred Aletta. It rolled over to Janet Shelnut, went to the chief of police, the chief of fire, and now the county manager, and there's been others. So it's time for all this mess to stop, and I'm ready to move forward as a county, move this county in another direction, in a great direction, and make this county as great as it can be. Okay, so with that, I'm going to second the motion.
We have a second. Now, discussion. Would you be so kind as to share with the public as to...
I said what I was going to say. I don't have anything else to say. I said what I was going to say.
Okay, well, I'm just going to tell you that the election superintendent violated several county codes, like putting an infant in the front seat of a county vehicle. Okay, you're going to tell that. If you're going to talk about the county manager, then you need to see exactly the charges that was placed against him by the county attorney. Okay, and that's significant. They need to know this. Now, one important thing I left out. The legislation in 1990 by the General Assembly made the ratification of that by a referendum of the people. The people voted on that. This is missing a referendum. Okay, now, if the delegation is going to really get serious with this, then they got to obviously call for a referendum. Because a good rule of thumb, whatever it takes for the citizens to do something, it takes the citizens to do without it. But basically what it amounts to, you want a hired person to be responsible and accountable for running your county, or do you want an elected official? Having said that, anybody else having discussion? Yes, sir.
I have a few comments, Mr. Chief.
Yes, sir.
This is my last meeting, obviously. I think we beat that horse to death, but ever since I've been here, we've been under a strong county manager form of government. All of the 18 months of classes that I've taken were all involved in different forms of government and things that we can do, and ethics and all the other things. And I want to say that I have been asked by a number of people, as well as a few of the commissioners, you know, what has happened in the past, and my wife will tell you that I was physically sick after, you know, just having to deal with some of it. I mean, really, it does bother me. And, you know, at the end of the day, it would make everything that we've had association with for the last 8 years illegal. You know, if in fact that's true. You know, that's hard. That's hard on us. You know, I don't know how it's gotten to this point. I know that it has, and it needs to be clarified. I've read the complaint, and the complaint is very. The complaint in and of itself is not ambiguous, but the complaint, along with the way that we've done business, is very ambiguous. And in the people that I've talked to, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I just seen this today, and I have been asked by the others, you know, what I thought about it, and my position was, hey, listen, I think that it needs to be straightened up. I would have rather, as in business principles, if you ever sue a client, you burn the bridge. You burn the bridge. If you sue a client, you're not going to get any more work from the client. You know, you might win the battle, but you're going to lose the war. In this case, spending a lot of taxpayer dollars to fight it, I would have rather seen us do maybe an arbitration or something like that. But I mean, I didn't know the suit was coming. I didn't know which way it was going. I certainly have no personal. I don't have a problem with you. I don't. I really don't. I mean, I don't have a problem with the fact that in some cases that you have to go to court. I would have rather maybe that we could have had, like I said, a conversation and arbitration and talked through it and then tried to work it out. I don't know that it can be worked out. I don't know that it can be worked out simply because what you have in the complaint, you know, if you look at just particularly one side, you know, a lot of that makes sense. If you look at it from the other side, it opens up other areas that, to me, as a business person, doesn't make any sense. And be quite honest with you, this afternoon, I did make a phone call to Commissioner-elect that's going to take this seat because I know, you know, it's my last night. I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be involved in that. I wanted to know, and I gave that. I gave him the information that I had as I had it. And so, you know, I will vote on it simply because it's the right thing for me to do. But at the end of the day, I wish we could have went a different direction. It hurts me as a person. But obviously, you know, it's going to be an impasse. I mean, you know, when two sides think they're right on each item, that's what we hire the attorneys for. And I've been, like I said, in business, I've been on both sides of that equation. So with that being said, Mr. Chair, I have no hard feelings against anybody. Really, I don't. And I yield the floor. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else have any comments?
I think what hurts me the most is that when we were elected to be stewards of the county resources. And although you're suing us, you're suing yourself as well because you sit on the Board of Commissioners. And what really hurts me, you want the taxpayers to pay for it. And then we have to defend ourselves with taxpayers' resources. So on both sides of the fence, you're hurting the taxpayers. And you never sat down with any of us to say, I'm about to take you to court. We've never taken any action on you. You failed yourself by not being a leader. People follow leaders naturally. And if nobody's following you, Chairman, that's on you. It's not on anybody else. You can't take anybody to court to sue them because they're not following your leadership.
Well, let's establish something. We all got elected, and obviously they elected me for change, and you just verified the fact that they got change. I'm very conservative. I'm probably headstrong, but that's just my comments. Anybody else have any comments? If not, we have a motion on the floor, second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, no. So moved. Approval of the minutes for the following meeting: January the 21st, 2014, February the 4th, the 5th, the 11th, March the 4th, the 18th, and the 25th, April the 1st, and the 15th, May the 6th, the 7th, June the 3rd, and the 17th, July the 16th, and July the 23rd, August the 5th, August the 19th, the 27th, and September the 2nd of the 16th. Does somebody move that we accept the minutes as published?
Mr. Chair, I was absent for the August the 5th. So if we need to separate those for any reason, I was not here on August 5th.
I don't think it would matter, really. I don't think that would matter, would it, Council, if he
I
voted
think
for,
if Mr.
as a
Bowman
group
just
form?
makes that statement, that's sufficient. If Mr. Bowman just says, I was absent that date, make that part of the record, let's approve the minutes. I don't think it's going to make any difference.
Okay, somebody move, we approve them.
So moved.
Okay, have a motion, to have a second? Have a second, District 1, any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Chairman and Commissioners' comments. The Chairman has none. Yes, sir.
I want to apologize to Reed. This was a heavy, heavy agenda tonight, but you have been an incredible, I know we've already made our comments to you, but it's been a pleasure to serve with you, and I just want to say it one more time, because I know how hard it is on the family. Y'all stayed here. Y'all are crazy. If you staying here for a late meeting, we're, get right here at 10 o'clock, but thank you for giving us Reed for the 8 years that we had him.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would just like to take a minute and wish all the county citizens and all the employees a safe and happy holiday, and God bless.
Anybody else? Yes, sir. Your Honor.
I'm going to add to that and say Merry Christmas.
Anybody else? County Manager, do you have any comments?
I'd like to lend my congratulations to Commissioner Bowman. I appreciate his leadership and his guidance, and I'll certainly miss him, but I'll see him in church. I'd also like to thank Commissioner Holmes for his nice comments tonight. I have to tell you, I enjoy being county manager. It's certainly a privilege for me to have the opportunity to do so. I'm not really sure why this recent surge in my popularity during meetings, but Mr. Chase, you came in here tonight, sir, and I think you said it all when you came to the podium. You've never met me before. You've never spoken to me before. You don't really know anything about me. But I'll tell you what saddens me. What saddens me is that I know that you're a veteran of the military, and I know that you know that I'm a veteran of the military. And there's always been an unspoken code, I think, between veterans, those of us that strap on the uniform and serve the country, that you would give somebody the benefit of the doubt and seek them out directly before you came into a public forum intended to try to insult a person's character when you didn't even know about them. So let me just say to you, thank you very much for your service to our country, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Mr. Tony? Mr. Tony, I'm glad that you stayed around. You know, I almost look forward to your trips to the podium, and I want our citizens to have every opportunity to see you come up here and speak. And I want to say for the record, this is the second meeting in a row that you've personally attacked me. I get it that you don't like me. I think most folks understand that. But let's give some clarity to your discussions. You have, hold on. I agree with you. You have read approximately 2,000 of my emails. And here's what I want the public to know. Have you found where any money has been mismanaged? No. Have you found where any laws have been broken? No. Have you found any ethical lapses in judgment? No. Have you found any mismanagement whatsoever? No. What you've done is editorialized one email out of 2,000. And so let me say that to me, what this kind of equates to is a possum rooting around in the bottom of a dumpster in the dark, just looking for something to bite on. And let me just say to you that I'm not going to compare you to a possum, because that would be an insult to possums everywhere. Merry Christmas.
Nope, that's enough.
Sit down, Tony.
That's enough. County Attorney.
Mr.
now
Chairman, I'm going to do
recognizing
what I almost will probably never do again and speak briefly. Everyone's been speaking to Commissioner Bowman, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say something to his family. I had the opportunity to work with Commissioner Bowman for 4 or 5 years ago, and I've had the privilege again to work with Commissioner Bowman. I've worked with a number of commissioners. I'll never call one out as better than another. I will say that I've always considered it a privilege to work with Commissioner Bowman. We are all products of our family, we are all the result of the people around us. And I want to thank you for giving us this Commissioner Bowman. He's been a pleasure to work with. He will be missed. I think personally and professionally he'll be missed. I'd also like to say I've had the privilege to meet incoming Commissioner Prince, and I hope I don't spoil these nice things I'm saying about Commissioner Bowman. I don't follow the elections when they come up, but I'm looking forward to working with Commissioner Prince as well. He has struck me as being a fine replacement. Nobody can replace another person, but he will sit in your seat, and I'm looking forward to working with him as well. But thank you. So that's all I've got to say.
Thank you. Upcoming meeting, Thursday, December 18th, 2014 at 7 p.m. We invite all the citizens to come here at this building here. We're going to have the swearing in of newly elected commissioners. Tuesday, January the 6th, 2015 at 9 a.m. we'll have a regular meeting. Monday, January the 19th, 2015, be a Martin Luther King holiday. All county offices will be closed. Tuesday, January the 20th is a regular meeting. Anybody, unless you have any other business, somebody move, we adjourn. Have a motion, District 1, second, District 4. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. I can't imagine anybody wants to stay longer.